you guys, I am back with more Reddit tea, and yes, it is hot. Let's see exactly why these siblings can't get along. I'm glad it's not just me. But before we get into that, make sure that you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It's free, okay? You already clicked on the video. You might as well go ahead and join the friend circle. But don't forget to tap that notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos. My name is Tandy. Now let's get into it. So we're gonna try to break this up into 3 different stories. So that way when you guys are commenting down below, make sure you type 1, 2, or 3 when responding to that particular story, okay? Story number 1. Am I the a-hole for not helping my brother babysit his 3 kids? This woman is 33 years old and she says, my older brother, age 40, has 3 kids under 5. I myself have no children by choice. Him and I, Him and I were never very close, but he is always asking for help with the kids. Saturday was a beautiful day. My husband and I had plans to spend the day in our pool. Cute. At 10 a.m. he calls me and asks me to come over and help with the kids for an hour or 2 because his wife is going to get her nails done. I declined and told him what my plans were. Good for you. Boundaries. We love that. He has a fit saying that I could come help him and then go home and still spend the day in the pool, which is true. He only lives about 15 minutes from me. But honestly, I just didn't want to have to spend the morning with his kids and was really not in the mood to babysit. So again, I said no, hung up, and had a nice day with my husband. Period. Later that day, I got a nasty text from my sister-in-law about not helping out. She was pissed she has to cancel her nail appointment. She pretty much called me an immature POS. For not helping. Wow, that was a bit extreme. My mom thinks I could have just went over for an hour or 2 since it really wouldn't have messed with my plans and I had no real reason not to. Now I feel like a jerk, so I don't know. I thought I would come here. Girl. My opinion, definitely not the a-hole.
Oh my God! Wow!
You deserve to have your boundaries respected. You chose not to have children, I'm sure for a very good reason. As somebody who was the auntie with no children, you are not obligated to watch your siblings' kids. I mean, it's nice, but the beauty about not having children is that you get to pick and choose when you want to, you know, be around the little rugrats. Don't get me wrong, like, I love my nieces and nephews. I really do. I love them all down. However, they know. My sisters know. TT, she gonna come and get them bad kids when she want to, okay? It's gonna be, TT time. And then when it's not, it's not. That's just that on that. So, no, I don't think that they're the a-hole in this. Comment down below what you think. Let's take a look at these comments. But you know, I stay in the comment section, baby. Somebody says, not the a-hole.
Absolutely not.
Daddy-o can't parent his children for a few hours to give his wife a little me time, so it's the original poster's fault? Facts. Like, what was dad gonna do in all of this? Why is he calling you? I'm concerned. They go on to say, tell me how much this man dislikes his kids without pointing to his failure to have a good relationship with his younger sister. Yikes. I agree though, they're not wrong. Somebody else goes on to say, exactly. Sister-in-law had an appointment, so this was planned and not really a last minute thing. Want to bet that bro failed to ask his sister in advance and then only called when his wife was ready to leave. Regardless, what kind of dad can't look after his own kids on his own for a couple of hours? Definitely not the a-hole. I mean, points were made. Now let's move on to story number 2. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my brother? I mean, did he deserve it? Let's see. I, a 28-year-old woman, have 2 younger siblings. Male 24 and a sister who is 13. My brother is married and has a 2-year-old daughter. My parents and sister live in the same city as my brother. I live in a different city a few hours away. In the last few months, my sister has been complaining that my brother invites her to his family outings only to use her as a babysitter for our niece. He'd ask her to restaurants or parks and make her watch the child while he and sister-in-law enjoyed themselves. She decided to stop going out with them and our parents supported her, even talking to my brother about it. Despite their talk, my brother didn't take it seriously. He wanted my sister to join a road trip. It was like a 3 days, 2 nights kind of thing, leaving on a Sunday, coming back on Tuesday. My sister didn't want to go and my parents said no anyway because she would miss 2 school days. Keep in mind, in our side of the world, it's not summer and kids are in school here. Last Sunday when our parents were at church, my brother showed up at our house and told my sister to get in the car because they were going on the road trip. Wow. She said she didn't want to go, but he insisted and they both, sister-in-law and brother, made her get in the car. When she was in the car, my sister texted me and told me the whole thing. She said she had texted my parents too, but she didn't think they were reading her messages soon because they were in Sunday service. So I called my brother. I reminded him that our parents said no and my sister didn't want to go anyway, so he better turn that car around and drop my sister off back at home. He dismissed me, claiming I was not the boss of him.
Damn!
Am I reading this right? Like, so you just gonna take your sister against her will? Let's keep reading, okay? Let's just see where this is going because I have thoughts for sure. She goes on to say, I asked him if he knew that what he did is kidnapping and I warned that I would totally call the police if he didn't return my sister home right away. He laughed it off and hung up. Wow. So I called the police. God dang it. Jeez. The police found them quickly since they haven't even left the city yet. Our parents didn't press charges and the whole thing was dropped quite easily and quickly. My parents are furious at my brother, of course, but they divided about what I did. My mom is angry at me for involving the police. She agrees my brother was wrong, that I had limited options since I'm in a different city, but she thinks I went too far. Especially because my 2-year-old niece was in the car too and it must have been a scary situation for her. I beg to differ. She believes that if I had waited for them, my parents, to get out of Sunday service, she could have talked to my brother and convinced him to drop my sister back home. She said in the half hour it would have taken them to be out of Sunday service, my brother wouldn't have even left the city yet since traffic was horrible. My father thinks it was great since I probably scared my brother into never taking my sister without permission again and said this should teach my brother a lesson. So Reddit. Am I the a-hole? I'm going to say no.
No! No!
That might be an unpopular take. I feel like sometimes, you know, you gotta let people know that if they F around, they gonna find out. So I agree with Dad. Do I think it was actual kidnapping? I guess technically, yes, it is considered kidnapping. So I mean, they definitely would have had the rights to press charge it if they saw fit. But do I think it was an overreaction? Maybe. But do I think it's justified legally? Yes. Would I have called the cops? I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know because I haven't been in that situation, and it's very easy to judge a situation when you're the outside looking in.
That's my opinion! Don't you get it?
So since I haven't been in that situation, I don't know what I would do. I would hope though that I wouldn't have to take it that far. I feel like she probably didn't want to since she warned him ahead of time, like, yo, turn back around. Like, I will call the police on you. He probably was calling her bluff. So again, you F around and you gonna find out. She had no choice but to call the police. I get it. It's just unfortunate that your mom is feeling like she should be on the fence about the issue. She should definitely be just upset at her brother. I don't think that she should warrant any negativity towards you. I think that's kind of silly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below and reference story number 2. Let's check out the comments. Somebody says, not the a-hole, and your mom needs to bloody well open her eyes. Your brother is using your sister, going so far as to kidnap her, and she thinks calling the cops was bad? Hell, I would have pressed charges if my son pulled a stunt like that. No more unsupervised visits with the sister, and your dad needs to talk some sense into your mom. Somebody replied and says, it's kidnapping a minor for the express purpose of forcing her to do unpaid labor. No, but for real though, like, she told him she didn't want to go. Like, I understand the girl is like 13, so she's very young, but that doesn't mean that she's your automatic babysitter. How inconsiderate towards her feelings. It's definitely giving entitlement. Like, your little sister is not your built-in babysitter. And then the fact that you would go so far as to not only kidnap her, but in the process have her missing days of school just so that you can go and have some alone time with your wife. You're not even enjoying your children on this vacation. It's supposed to be a family vacation. I don't know. I get parents wanting to, you know, of course, do things with their children, you know, create memories. But how much memories are you creating if you are putting the responsibility on your sister to create memories? I understand that parents also too need their own alone time and, you know, one-on-one time, but I don't know, it's weird. It's weird that you would go to these lengths to spend some alone time with your significant other. Like, side eye. Comment down below what you think though. The whole situation is just petty. But you know what? This is an equal opportunity petty train. So let's move on to story number 3. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my sister when she was just trying to help? So last story, bro got the police called on him. This story, sister's getting the police called on her. Let's see why. I'm a 22-year-old female. My sister is 27. We had babies within 2 weeks of each other, and our sons are now 3 and 5 weeks old. How cute. Her son is breastfed and mine is not. Jesus, I see where this is going. I needed to get surgery recently, and because my son's father isn't around, my sister and brother-in-law offered to babysit my son while I was in the hospital. 3 days total. Free of charge. Love that. As they should. I mean, I don't charge my sisters for babysitting my nieces and nephews. It goes on to say, when I came home today, I walked into my son on my sister's breast, which I actually didn't have an issue with to begin. She shouldn't have added that extra with. Which I actually didn't have an issue to begin with because it was probably easier to breastfeed him than to make bottles. But she told me that she had thrown out all the garbage I was feeding him and she was going to pump and donate milk to him.
What was the reason? What was the reason?
So let me get this straight. Sis has a child relatively about the same age as yours. I'm sure she's breastfeeding her child. Is she producing milk in excess? Because that seems like a lot of milk that would need to be produced just for, you know, her child and yours. Huh. It seems like a lot of freaking milk. I mean, I've never breastfed, but I know that some women have issues producing enough milk for one, let alone two. At the same time, some women produce excess milk. So I don't know where her sister lies in this, but let's keep reading. So she says, I was kind of in shock, so I didn't react straight away, but I went to the bathroom and called the police on her. Apparently what she did wasn't a crime and the child is being fed, so they couldn't even do anything about it. My sister then blew up at me saying it was completely wrong of me to call the police on her when she was just trying to help. I told her she dumped 14 cans of formula without even consulting me and currently had nothing to replace it with, just plans to. She now wants me to pay her for the babysitting she did, but I told her I can't even afford to replace the formula while I'm on maternity leave, so I won't be paying her for the babysitting. She ended up storming out and blocked me on everything. Our parents were able to replace 2 of the cans she threw out, but can't do much else. They also think I was a schlong for calling the police on her because getting a record could affect her government job and therefore my nephews. Am I the a-hole? Side note, there's no way my sister would have replaced the formula. She is completely against it and has been vocal about her dislike for me using it. Also, my sister did not have a supply already pumped, nor has she even used her pump yet. So not only did she not have anything to replace what she threw out, she had no idea how her body would respond to a pump. The only way she would have been feeding my son over the next few weeks would be to put him on the boob, which would take time away from me being with him. Also, my sister went to my house for the child mining. So that answers my question about whether or not she was pumping in excess. If she didn't have any excess milk on hand, yeah, sis, you definitely shouldn't have thrown that out. That's all that kid has. And your sister is not breastfeeding that child for whatever reason. Specify, if I'm not mistaken, she didn't specify that she couldn't produce, but for all we know, the facts are the facts, okay? She just was feeding her baby formula milk. And personally, again, I know I don't have any children, but I understand the benefits of breastfeeding versus formula. So I have no problem with the child being breastfed by the sister. Actually, I think it's a lot more healthy than any canned milk. I think that even humans should be consuming breast milk because there's a lot of women who produce excess milk versus like drinking cow's milk. I think cow's milk is disgusting and I don't understand why humans will drink the milk produced by another species. To me, that sounds crazy, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. So yeah, I don't see a problem with the child consuming the sister's breast milk. I think it's totally normal and healthy. However, if the sister did not have any milk stored, then yeah, she's definitely the a-hole in the situation, not the mother of the child. I do think that she overreacted by calling the police on her sister, because even I would know that there's no crime that has been committed. So I don't think she's necessarily an a-hole for doing that, but I do think that it's kind of I don't know what to say. So comment down below how you feel on this. I'm kind of on the fence. Like, on one hand, obviously it wasn't a crime committed, but I can understand why she was frustrated. Also, if your sister went into that knowing that she wasn't going to be paid and was okay with that, why all of a sudden does she need money now because you called the cops on her? Now she's just being petty, it seems like. The whole situation is just messy, honey. So I have no idea where I stand on this, to be honest. Is she the a-hole? Maybe? Let's check out the comments. 14 cans of formula is no joke, not the a-hole. Okay. Somebody goes on to say, do we need an act of Congress to make baby formula affordable? After all, women now must have these babies no matter what because of the Supreme Court overturned Roe. Therefore, baby formula is necessary and should be free. I agree. Again, some mothers physically cannot breastfeed. Therefore, if women are going to be forced into having children, then they should receive the adequate help that they need in order to, you know, sustain. Now, for whatever reason, the child's father is not in the picture. We don't know the story, so we are not going to assume. All we know is that he is not in the picture, therefore making it harder on the woman, right? So no, there should be some type of program or something. Like, formula is not cheap. And do you guys remember, like, a while back when I remember my niece, the last couple of months before my niece turned 1, she ended up having to go on formula, right? And I remember it was very hard for my sister to find formula for her. Like, there was a whole formula shortage. There were freaking plants that were getting burned down. It was craziness, you guys. So there definitely needs to be some type of help out there for mothers who have their children on formulas. I don't know, this situation is sticky. It's very messy to say the least. So comment down below what you think on stories 1, 2, and 3. What are your thoughts on these stories? Be sure to comment story 1, 2, or 3 when leaving a comment down below. If you made it to the end of this video, you definitely a real one. So kudos to you. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. But don't forget to smash that notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos like this. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.